Hello and welcome to the Durson Network. You're watching the 2023 Fountain Hill Stickball Classic Preview Show. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, as always. And with us again this year is the director of the Fountain Hill Stickball Classic, none other than Mr. Alex Specht. Alex, thanks for being here.
How's it going, Ryan? I love doing this show every year, man.
Absolutely. It's a blast. Everybody's been, on our case for the past week plus about this bracket reveal. We're here. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. This is the 15th annual Stickball Classic. It's this Saturday, August 5th at the Fountain Hill Playground and Holy Child parking lot. Let's talk about our sponsors for the Classic this year. Our gold sponsors are none other than the Sports Corner, the Durson Network, Can't Tell Me Long Funeral Home, BF Brown, Justice Works Youth Care, Inc., Liberty Abstract Company, LLC, Jim Bobo Appliance, Richard Reposh, Blackbird Farms, Tally Ho Tavern, MacMart, West Side Hammer Electric, The Zest Bar and Grill, and Grill 3501. Thank you to all the gold sponsors this year who help support the Classic. Let's move right into the bracket, Alex. And I know this is a difficult thing to do every year, especially this year with all the teams that we have. How many teams do we have this year?
22, which is one more than the last high number that we had, which we had to actually use the softball field for. So putting this together was quite a trip, but I think we got the best potential bracket out there for timing purposes and to fulfill fairness for all the teams not having to incorporate that softball field this year. So I think we did it.
Yeah, it's a challenge, right? Obviously, normally with 16 teams, it's challenging enough. Now we have 22. Going to be an early start time for many of these teams, 7:45 a.m. Hopefully they have a good night of sleep Friday night heading into Saturday. But let's move on and take a look, deep dive into the Moravia region. Starting off at 7:45 a.m., we have game one, the Magoos versus Brokeback. The Magoos, a team that comes out every year. They've actually had some recent success. I don't think they're much of a threat to take it all home. I don't know a lot about Brokeback. Can you talk to them at all, Alex?
Yeah, so Brokeback Mountain is actually Justin Bakevich, who is a fairly well-known Fountain Hill Hiller, having grown up across from the Fountain Hill Park. So I know he said he's got some family in town. He's got some of his buddies that were interested in being, in participation of the event this year. So he wanted to get his own team together. And, I was just happy to be able to, kind of squeeze them in. And, not that, you can, turn a blind eye at the Magoos, but, maybe Brokeback can go in there and get that W and, get into the second round. They're playing, unfortunately, the three-time champ MFS, but, gives them at least a little bit longer of a day there that they can participate in.
Yes, and shout out to MFS. I neglected to include them on that initial slide for the gold sponsors. The MFS Stickball franchise is sponsoring again this year. Thank you to MFS. They're obviously likely a favorite to come out of this bracket, but let's not forget about this matchup at 10:45 a.m. between the Horned Frogs and the FH Fancies. I caught a lot of flack last year from the Fancies for not talking about them enough. They did win a game or two, I think, last year. The Horned Frogs are no walk in the park. They got some talent on that team, but MFS is the clear favorite. Alex, talk to me. Who do you think is coming out of this bracket? I already said MFS's favorite. I think you're likely to agree.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. When you got 22 teams, and you have all these additional first round games, it's long waits, for some of those teams to play their first game. And then, having to get through that and go into the next game. A lot of those people, they support and they help out throughout the day. So they're standing in the heat. They're the ones, moving around all day. So it can be, tiring, but I think at the end of the day, MFS comes out of that one on top. They're just, with the amount of championships they've played in, and then with the ones that they've won, they're always at the top of their game. So I do expect them to come out of that bracket.
Would be a fun region final to watch at 1:10 p.m. there at the park. If the Fancies are able to, in my opinion, I think they'd be upsetting the Horned Frogs. I don't know if that's too strong to say, but I thought the Horned Frogs looked pretty good last year. But if the Fancies do advance, they have plenty of time to get well hydrated before that 1:10 p.m. game against MFS. Moving on to the Broadway region, some new teams in this region, Alex, specifically NWSB. Can you talk to me about who they are?
Yeah, so NWSB, I believe, is a mixture of, or mostly Northwestern Lehigh's baseball team or athletics, kids coming out of that athletic program. They apparently played with Salisbury for a few years, and then not to start any, talking here, putting those words out there, but they were saying that Salisbury was a little washed, so they wanted to go on and build their own team and come in here, and they won a challenge for the title. So. Tough, 7:45 a.m. start time.
Mm-hmm.
But if they get past the Funky Bunch, they go into the 10 a.m. game, and the Goosemen have been there for a while, but again, they're another team that hasn't quite been able to take that next step. So NWSB could really come in here and make some noise.
So the Charlie Browners won the title last year, but the Goosemen were very impressive, spectacular in the defensive side. But talk to me about Twisted Team. This is, I believe, some more dissension amongst the Fountain Hill youth and another splitting of the teams. Can you tell me who the captain is on Twisted Team?
Yeah, so the captain on Twisted Team is Luke Amirbeg.
Got it. And the Snifflers, who are the Snifflers?
So the Snifflers, the captain was Drew Walker, who came through Liberty.
Okay.
And had also participated on the baseball program. So he's a couple years back, but I don't know who exactly is on that team, but I know that if, he has his friends or peers, that he grew up with and stuff, they're not going to be somebody to discount for sure.
So with that being said, who's the favorite to come out of the Broadway region?
Oh man. I want to trust the hype of NWSB. I know that they're really into it this year. But they got to go through some pretty serious Fountain Hill Stickball Classic veterans. And people found out, as you can see last year with CLB coming in, not having played stickball really, they lost their first round matchup, and they were, a pretty darn good baseball team. So I think everybody thinks it just translates, pretty easily over. So I think that they're going to have to keep on their game and really, go in there, especially facing all those veterans in the Stickball Classic.
So you like BF Brown is what you're saying?
I think BF Brown has been there. They're battle tested. I think that they can get back to that.
I underestimated the Goosemen last year, so I'm going to pick them, but we'll go with BF Brown for the sake of this show. Before we move on to the other side of the bracket, let's talk about the silver sponsors this year. Shabam Associates LLC, the Solitario Family, Hanover Township Memorial Golf Tournament, the Goose, Moe's Pizza. I'm getting hungry just reading through these sponsors. Iron City Construction, A Marksman Construction, Clam Jam Boil and Barbecue, Party Tents by Marty, Bikers Against Bullies, Lehigh Valley Chapter. Moving on to the Delaware region, a lot of familiar faces over here. Obviously, the Hillers, 3-time champs, Bad New Bears, Sack Flies, La Familia's over here. A lot of talent. I do see a name here I'm not familiar with. Kansas City Chiefers. Who are they?
So the Kansas City Chiefers are CLB of last year.
Okay, we're going through name change.
Yeah, the
rebranding.
Liberty baseball team, they didn't like where last year's team name took them.
Got it.
So they had to rebrand themselves a little bit. And then actually they're facing Master Gators, who are a new team as well. It is the training staff for Liberty High School. So a lot of time spent together between the baseball team and those individuals. Yep. So it should be an interesting matchup, putting them against each other. I'm interested to see what happens in that one.
Now, obviously you're biased. Hillers, are we gonna again come out of our region and go to the Final Four this year?
This region is tough. At La Familia, they, again, another team that can never really put it all together, but they talked about maybe this being their last hurrah. They're really going for it this year. Maybe they find some luck along the way. You can't discount athletes either. If they put it all together, athletes will usually show out. So there's a lot of good teams in here. I think that us not having to start until 10 And then if we get through our first game, not having to play till 2, sometimes that long layoff can get to you a little bit.
Yeah.
But I still think that we're the Hillers, we're
I
the
agree.
3-time champs, and we
I
are
agree.
battle tested, and we'll get there.
And
So.
not to spend too much time on it, but we have some talent we were without last year. I
Mhm.
thought we upset some teams last year to get to the Final Four. We have a stud coming up here, flying north all the way from Miami Beach. Nick Johnson's coming home to take part in the Stickball Classic. Joey Martin's back this year. We're going to be twisting double plays. It's going to be beautiful to watch. And nothing against La Familia. Those guys know I love them, but picking them to win anything in the Classic is like thinking the Sixers are going to make it past the second round. It's just not happening. So I'm gonna agree with you there. Hillers are going to make it out of the Delaware region. Moving on to the Jeter region, Charlie Browners. There they are, defending champs. They really put on a display last year. Like I said, that was just very impressive. Haven't seen a team play that well in a long time. I see the Salisbury Falcons in this region as well. So a lot of talent. Who's coming out of this region, Alex?
Yeah, I got a lot of backlash last year from the Charlie Browners, and I don't quite think that I said anything too demeaning or demoting to them. But they came out, they used it as fire, and the motivation was certainly there. I know they got a lot of heat in regards to how they were pitching. And some of the ways that they were doing things in games, which will be addressed. I will be sending a video out to all the captains out there. So just as a quick point to put there, just to go over some rules and regulations, making sure the captains are aware of everything that they could pass along to their guys. But again, I think that you look at like the Broadway Boilermakers, right? You look at Salisbury Falcons, like these are people that have played this game forever, and going against that team that won the championship last year, can they upset them? I mean, we don't know. Again, Broadway Boilermakers, they always find a way to implode when they need to put it all together. So I guess you got to pick the champ just because they've shown that they can do it. But winning it 2 years in a row is tough. So who knows? I guess we'll see.
Shane Edwards, Big Sheds, as he likes to be called, after they won the championship last year, he said the same thing next year. That was his quote. And that team came with a lot of fire. So I like the Charlie Browners to move out of this region as well. I did want to discuss some kind of news and notes from around the Fountain Hill Stickball Classic world. There's been a lot of talk on social media from some anonymous reporters at Classic Woj, at Classic Shams. They've been saying quite a lot on the internet in regards to this year's Fountain Hill Stickball Classic. Even, some outlandish stuff, but just talk to me in general. Has their reporting been accurate? And do you know who these reporters are? Because right now they're anonymous.
I will say I don't know who they are.
Okay.
I think that they are doing a great job of bringing attention to the event, which I thoroughly enjoy. Their knowledge seems to be phenomenal. I mean, the names that they're pulling, some of the information that they're throwing out there, these are things that have been talked about in the past for sure. So it's not coming out of left field. These situations were real or are real. But ultimately, anything that had come from them prior to today was not official. Anything that was seen today was provided by official Fountain Hill Classic Committee members. So any reports today, people can follow.
So they're having a lot of fun with it.
They're having fun.
They're having fun, but when it comes to facts and the Fountain Hill Stickball Classic, there's one place to be, and that's the Durson Network. Everybody knows that. Let's move on. Before we do, let's talk about the bronze sponsors: Iron Valley Real Estate of the Lehigh Valley, the Brenda and Jillian Onescu team, the Steel Pub, Fiesta Pizza, Foresight Business Solutions. And also, we just want to say this year's classic is in loving memory of Junie Pop Rich. Junie, just what can you say? Fountain Hill stable. We lost him earlier this year, and just an avid fan. Never missed a classic. A lot of his family and friends will be participating this year, and he'll be there in spirit. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of bucket hats out there in memory of Pop Rich.
I also just wanted to interrupt you there, Ryan, too. The Sports Corner, Tom Beddix, this will be his last year creating the T-shirts for us.
Yeah.
So for 15 straight years, we really relied on him, and we couldn't do this event without him in the Sports Corner. And we're really gonna miss him, and being able to count on him and his business and his family to support us like he did. It's just a phenomenal way to go out, 15 years this long. So just a big shout out to Tom and the Sports Corner and his family for supporting us all these years.
Absolutely. Big shout out to the Sports Corner. We're down to the final four, Alex. And so far we've picked MFS to come out of the Moravia region, BF Brown to come out of the Broadway region, the Hillers out of the Delaware region, the Charlie Browners out of the Jeter region. The same final four as last year, I believe. Some great matchups. There's going to be this is going to be some great stickball. If you're not watching these games Saturday evening, you're missing out. But Alex, it's down to the final four. I know you're on one of these teams. Try to be objective here and pick the winner of this tournament.
Oh, I think, listen, somebody's got to win a fourth championship, right? And MFS has 3 and we have 3. And I think that it gets to the championship, it's us against them. And I just think that MFS has the fresher legs. And I think that they come out on top as the first 4-time Classic champion in history.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. Alex Becht has picked MFS to win the 2023 Fountain Hill Stickball Classic. Alex, any words to the teams, captains, anything you want to say before we log off here?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everybody for being understanding. We did have to close our registration early this year because we filled our slots quicker than we've ever done in the past. So in order for the day to go as smoothly as we hope, all the team members, if you could please just try and get to your location of your game 15 minutes ahead of time. Because if we find that games are running a little bit quicker, which it usually happens when you get to the second and third rounds, in hopes to save daylight, we might start games a little bit earlier. So just making sure that, we're all ready, so that we can keep pumping out the games. Officials this year, anybody who volunteers to officiate down at the Fountain Hill Park, we did get some extra safety green Classic T-shirts this year. It's free of charge. It's to you for volunteering. So we'll make sure to get you one of those if you help out. I know, shout out to Jeff Ralph, Matt Unix, Darren Seaman, Zach Regola, Peyton. The guys that typically Shane Hutch that will support. Come see me. I'll do my best to get you guys a green shirt. We also have hats for sale this year. The first batch of hats are pretty much sold out through pre-sale, but we do have an additional 40 hats coming. I'm hoping that they're going to be here for the day of the Classic. If not, I will personally deliver them to your house if you purchase one. So please keep that in mind. And then, of course, visiting the snack stand. We got the slushy machine back this year. We have people that support and make food in the crock pot and donate some of their time and energy into that too. So please make sure that you support them. And, we look forward to, having another great year and kicking this one off as the largest one ever.
Absolutely, Alex. Couldn't have said it better myself. And on behalf of everybody who participates, plays, watches, thank you for all the hard work that goes into this. I don't think people realize all the moving parts involved. So thank you very much for your hard work. And obviously all the volunteers will be out setting the fence up Friday night. Excited for Saturday. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks again, Alex. And make sure to like and subscribe to Durson Network. And we will see you this Saturday at the 2023 Fountain Hill Stickball Classic. Thanks everybody.